You know, there's some very beautiful towns across southern Alberta. Some are seeing populations dwindling, while other ones are growing. Oftentimes, they're places with friendly folks and a more affordable style of living. Joining us now to talk about the small town life is Don Anderberg. He's the mayor of Pincher Creek, Alberta. Don, welcome to Bridge City News.
Thanks for having me today. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Absolutely. So, Don, how would you best describe Pincher Creek?
Well, Pincher Creek's population of about 3,600 people. Pincher Creek's one of the oldest settlements in Alberta. We'd be celebrating our 150th anniversary of founding in 2028. Big rich history of ranching and farming in this area. Original location of the Northwest Mounted Police horse ranch in the late 1800s, and yeah, pretty stable place to live, and we're basically the economic center of the Southwest.
And close to the Rocky Mountains. We can't forget about getting that Rocky Mountain fix. You know, I try and do that every second weekend as well. Let me ask you though, Don, do you kind of take that for granted, being so close to the Rockies, the majestic mountains?
Well, I think so. You know, it's like anything else. You kind of get used to the viewscape, and you're focused on other things, and maybe sometimes we don't appreciate the viewscape that we have here. But certainly, in recent history and in the community here, we have a lot of people coming our way from all corners of the world to visit with us and see what we have here. So yeah, sometimes we should stop and smell the flowers and look at the mountains a little closer and appreciate them more, I guess.
Now, Fort Macleod has been in the spotlight over the past few years with the couple of TV shows, including The Last of Us and movies like Ghostbusters being shot there. Let me ask you, has Hollywood come knocking on your door in Pincher Creek?
We've had some movie shots here over the years, and some short clips in various movies recently. I think simply because of our location, viewscape, and that it will come. We haven't had a full-scale movie here yet, but I think it possibly could happen in the near future. There's a lot of that type of activity in the area, of course, High River and Fort Macleod and Calgary and surrounding areas. So I think we're all part of that, and I believe a lot of shots, clips have been taken in this area from time to time.
Don, let's chat about the rising cost of living and higher inflation. Has it really impacted Pincher Creek like it has a lot of other communities? What's the economic situation like there right now?
Well, I think, yeah, impactful for individuals. I think everybody's feeling it. Of course, in a rural community, some of the services and things we need aren't at hand, so you have to travel. So that's especially for medical appointments and things like that. So that can be very stressful. But the overall economic situation in Pincher Creek's actually pretty favorable. We have over 400 licensed businesses in the town of Pincher Creek. We went through COVID. We lost very few businesses. We put a program in place to retain our businesses, and that seemed to work pretty well. But yeah, we're well positioned that way, and the overall economic situation here is pretty favorable.
I'm guessing agriculture is kind of your bread and butter in Pincher Creek. What about maybe some other new potential business opportunities for people? What are you seeing as for new businesses starting up?
Okay, so I guess I'll go back to the agricultural statement you just made. We've actually got 5 drivers in Pincher Creek, which is really important. So, of course, ranching and farming is a big one, but we've also got oil and gas. The wind industry is big here. We've got the tourism industry that's been here for many years, and of course, mentioned earlier that we are the economic center, or the service center of the Southwest. So if one area is a little bit slow, it seems to get picked up by another area. So it gives us a lot of stability. As far as new business coming here, yeah, we're seeing some of that. I think the big driver here is the expansion of existing business at the moment. So we're seeing some of our small to medium-sized businesses actually expanding, which is great. And yeah, we're seeing some new folks come to town too.
So in your opinion, what are some of the advantages of opening up a business in a smaller center compared to a big city?
I think one of the advantages is probably our taxes. Our commercial tax rate's fairly reasonable. Property values. So if you want to buy property or rentals are probably, or leases are probably lower. One thing we do have going for us in Pinch Creek is we do have high-speed broadband internet, and that has enabled businesses such as accountants, lawyers, and people that have large files that they have to move around to remain in our community. So, or come here to work. I can think of, we do have the company that does graphic imaging. They used to have to drive to Calgary to get their product where they had to get it to. So now they can do that right from their office here. So, you know, it's a huge advantage.
The Canadian Real Estate Association recently chatted about the average cost of a home now in Canada, over $700,000. But of course, you're factoring in cities like Toronto, Vancouver. Affordable housing has been a real concern in many communities across the country, especially for young people trying to save up. First-time home buyers, it's next to impossible. But what's it like in your town? How much more affordable is it?
Okay, so up until recently, I would say that we were very affordable. We're seeing a bit of a dynamic shift change. We're seeing people moving in here from elsewhere. For example, they may sell their home in Calgary and downsize to a smaller community like Pinch Creek. We're not unique, but we're seeing that. It's probably and has driven some of our housing prices up. Historically, because of the activity here, we have had a housing shortage and a rental shortage. We're seeing rental costs rise here. So it's been pretty stable for many years, but we're seeing the shift as we speak.
Could you still buy maybe a two-story, 1,500 square foot two-story, and maybe a 1,000 square foot bungalow for under $300K?
In that range.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about rent? Like, say if you were to rent a house like that, would it be 1,500, 1,700 a month?
Approximately, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, anywhere from 12 to 2,000, depending on the house. So
wow. Okay.
we have seen rental costs rise. It's a high priority for us to work on housing. It's a difficult file, and we've actually tried to do that over the years. I think we have because of the economic change. I think we're seeing a difference in the thought process of investors. So probably what's driving it is trying to find a more stable investment, and a lot of local folks we're dealing with right now that are getting back in that type of market. So it's great.
You know, the opioid crisis continues in many communities in Alberta and across Canada, for that matter. How is your town dealing with the drug, crime, and homeless crisis? a lot of the issues?
Well, we've got all those issues here to a degree, but not to a really high degree. In fact, we just had a report from we have a 3-month report from our local RCMP detachment, and our crime stats are actually relatively low in Pinch Creek, which is wonderful. We do have a drug issue here to a degree, but I wouldn't say it's hard to gauge, I guess, from a political perspective, I guess, but I wouldn't say it's rampant and visible, but it's here. And as far as housing is concerned, homelessness, not a big issue. Trying to find places for people to live, affordable housing is a big issue. But so those 3 items, we always keep an eye on it, and we're always concerned and try and do our best there. But not a overall huge concern for us.
You know, sometimes people have concerns moving to a smaller center, especially when it comes to getting ill, getting sick, you know, having access to a cancer treatment center or a decent-sized hospital. What is it like in Pincher Creek for healthcare?
Okay, so historically, our healthcare here has been great. Probably, I would say, probably rural health model for the province to a degree. Recently, we've had an issue replacing doctors that have left. We're in a bit of a crisis right now with that. But having said that, we are a regional hospital, and recently Alberta Health has installed a CT scan machine in our hospital, and also recently they've announced upgrades to our surgical suites to increase surgeries here. So as we speak, there are surgeries scheduled for folks from out of town to come this way to access certain procedures, and they bring surgeons in, generally, I think, from Lethbridge to do those procedures. So overall, I think historically our health system here has just been tremendous. We are working through some challenges right now. Part of that challenge is when we find people to come here, we have a hard time housing them. So we keep going back to the housing issue, but it's a big one, and it affects a lot of things. So including attracting health professionals, not just doctors, but nurses and techs and all those folks we need to make things work.
You know, yeah, we have a doctor shortage here in Lethbridge. It seems to be impacting a lot of communities, not just in Alberta, but across Canada. Don, I've been to Pincher Creek many times. You've got nice shopping there, as you mentioned, the hospital and arenas, schools. What about some of the other recreational activities available and some of the facilities that people can tap into?
Well, I think being a regional center, we've got everything here. So, like I said, we're a town of 3,700. We've got a Walmart supercenter. We've got a big co-op grocery store, lumber yard, fuel supply business here. Lawyers, accountants, various healthcare professionals like eye care and chiropractors, people like that, dealerships. Yeah, we're a regional center, so from the service side, pretty solid there. Other things that we do have in our community, we have an indoor pool, year-round pool. A lot of folks in our area come here to take advantage of that all year round, but in the wintertime also. and most of the other amenities, ballparks, lots of parks, great walking trails. We're really proud of our trail system, and it looks kind of benign, but that's probably the most used facility in our community by far. And of course, visitors coming here can take advantage of walking the creek from one end of town to the other on a nice trail, and have a great experience. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff going for us, and a lot of folks that have been on council and in the community, and in the past have looked to the future and put a lot of facilities in place, and we try and maintain things at a high level here, and I think people appreciate that, and yeah,
And
we
Don,
have
the
a lot
indoor
of
pool
stuff
you're
for us.
referring to, that's the one at your house, right?
I've had the indoor pools at my house. They call those floods.
Yeah, bring all the neighbors over, right? Don Anderberg is the mayor of Pincher Creek, Alberta. Don, thanks so much for your time today.
Okay, thank you.
On behalf of all of us here at Bridge City News, I'm Hal Roberts. God bless, and thanks so much for watching.